It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here's your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome in on what is a fabulous Friday. Weekend almost here. Say goodbye to top seeds. Man, oh man, the number 1 overall seed, the number 2 overall seed. Sayonara. Coach K still dancing, though. And the Grizz, they win again. They destroyed Indy 133-103. They have clinched a playoff spot, but we won't see Ja. Not again until probably the playoffs. Just like Steph Curry, they're shutting them down until postseason play. Good news is they did an MRI structurally. It appears that the knee, which is where the soreness is okay. So that is obviously the good news. What a night last night. I mean, Arkansas over Gonzaga, 74-68. So as I'm watching that game, I am saying, how come we didn't see that Andrew Nembhard? I mean, that guy couldn't do anything. Now, maybe some of this has to do with the Arkansas defense. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt on that. They were incredible. They held Gonzaga to 68 points. And Gonzaga, what was the final in the Memphis game? 82-78, I think that's right. 4 points. So they got 82 against a pretty good Memphis offense. But I have to confess, as I watched that thing, you know, I don't want to put down their defense is great. There's no question about it. But Gonzaga was just missing open looks the whole time. I mean, Nembhard, he was 2 of 11. How many were contested? J-Mo, how many were contested?
I don't know. Not a ton. There was certainly some that were uncontested, but that also happened in the Memphis game, especially in the first half. They were missing easy layups. They got it going.
Not Nembhard. He hit almost every
that's
three.
True.
Last night, he had the floater the whole game. He couldn't do 2 of 11 from Nembhard. The guy was brilliant against Memphis. He couldn't do any. He had 5 turnovers in the game. 5 turnovers.
Yeah, it wasn't a great game.
My God. Why didn't we see that guy? But I got to give it to the Hogs. I mean, Williams, 15 and 12. Williams was the best player on the floor. You can say Timmy. You can say Holmgren. Holmgren was in foul trouble the whole game, and a couple of those fouls were pretty iffy. And I'll say this, Arkansas got the breaks in the second half. They missed a call where a guy was out of bounds. I mean, everything went their way, and that's good. Boy, that could have been Memphis and Arkansas. What a game that would have been. And now the Hogs are in the Elite Eight. I mean, it's a beautiful thing for sure, and I think they'll give Duke a heck of a game.
I think they will too, but you know, it just stinks. I'm afraid that I can already feel it coming because I was on Twitter a little bit this morning, and there's a lot of people saying that call stepping out of bounds, changed the game. I don't know about that. It certainly was a big call, though.
They got breaks. They
did get breaks. I mean, I already see this criticism starting to creep in of why can't Mark Few win a championship? Why can't Mark Few win a championship?
Yeah.
And you can't question how good a program that guy's built and how good a coach he is. I mean, it's hard to win a national championship today. John Calipari, as good a coach he has won one. I mean, it is really difficult. I think maybe the days of where guys just sweep in and start sweeping national championships, so sweeping them up might be over. So I don't think you can criticize Mark Few for that. But a great game by Arkansas. I don't mean to be overarching that.
You give Mark Few a lot of credit for building a program that, he's got a chance because I think he's young enough and I don't think he's going anywhere where, I don't know if he'll catch Coach K. Certainly not going to catch him in victories in postseason. You see how many he's now got.
How many?
Last night was a major milestone because not only did it get him to the Elite Eight, he's got 1,200 wins. But he has 100 NCAA tournament victories.
Wow.
100.
Won over 75% of his NCAA tournament games.
That's incredible.
That really is incredible.
Think about it. I don't know if that'll get broken.
No way.
I
can't imagine.
Because there's so much more parity now with NIL and transfer portal. I think it's going to be harder and harder. And transfer portal, he's won a bunch here at the end with when he changed his philosophy and started to get one and dones. And he's had really good teams. Now, he hasn't won the title. And I don't know that this team will win the title. I think Arkansas will hang with them. I think Arkansas can beat them. Banchero's incredible. But I'm going to tell you right now, I was so impressed with Wade. With Williams was the best player on the floor. With Note, who's been good all year long. Tony was terrific in this game. I mean, the way they defend, the way they have team speed, they were really good in this game. There is no doubt about that. I would be a little worried if I were Villanova. And I still think Villanova will beat Houston, but that will not be easy. And isn't it something that Houston has gotten into the Elite Eight after getting into the Final Four? And then you look at Memphis and you say to yourself, it's like validation. Because Memphis probably gave Houston as tough a time as anybody the year before. Could have won both games, did not. But they were great games that they did play. And they go to the Final Four. This year they're in the Elite Eight, with a chance again to go to the Final Four without their two best scorers, and Memphis beat them twice.
A dominating performance last night, too, beating Arizona, who is a really good – Arizona and Gonzaga, I mean, for everybody's money, were probably the two favorites to win the national championship, even if you repicked it for the Sweet 16.
They were the number 1 overall seed, Gonzaga, and the number 2 overall seed, Arizona.
Exactly.
And I'm going to tell you, Houston dominated Arizona.
They did the whole game.
I mean, Arizona made some runs to close it, but, Arizona went up 10. And then, Houston went up 10. And then Arizona cut it to like 6 or maybe even 4 at the half. And then I don't think they ever took a lead in that game. But the Houston defense and physicality was too much for Arizona. Now, I got to tell you, Villanova, they're the real deal.
They're good.
They got play inside, and they got a guard that I actually have him down. I put him high up on my wooden watch, on my wooden boat.
Gillespie
he takes over games. He not necessarily has to score. He can hit a big three when he has to. He can penetrate. But if you'll notice, great guards always control pace of game to whatever their coach wants.
No doubt about it.
And he is a master at that, and Jay Wright totally trusts him.
He's played so well. He played really well last night. I can't wait to watch him play at the next level because he's undoubtedly an NBA player. But now that we've had 2 number 1 seeds go, or 3 total, but 2 last night go down, do you think, not to look ahead too far, what do you think about Kansas and Providence tonight? Does a 3rd number 1 seed or a 4th number 1 seed go down?
Well, that would be amazing. Can
Providence do it?
There's only been one time in history, and it was in 2008 when all 4 number 1 seeds made it to the Final Four. I would like to know if there's been a Final Four in the last 20 years. Anybody knows that, text us on the AutoZone text line at 901-360-8255, get in the zone, AutoZone. I would love to know, have we had a Final Four in the last 20 years without one number 1 seed? Because that could happen.
Not that I can think of. In a quick Google search, I don't really see anything that would pop up either. I can't even think of the last time a number 1 seed wasn't in the Final Four. But I tell you what, Providence has a good chance to knock them out too, because they win a lot. They've won a lot of close games all year. Very underrated team, I think, that a lot of people thought was overseeded. I think they've proven that's not true.
Well, the Big East is a really good league.
Absolutely.
There's no question how good the Big East is.
And it's going to be a tough road for Kansas. I don't love Kansas either. I think teams that Kansas's weakness is defense, so is Purdue's, but Purdue's obviously playing really well as well. But teams that just struggle on defense or just don't rate well defensively, they always scare me in the NCAA tournament. And I think Providence might win tonight. If I can make a bold prediction, 7-point underdogs. I think they win outright.
7.5. That is. I think Providence will cover that. I mean, if you look at the games last night, they all ended up close. Arkansas beat Gonzaga. It's by 6. And Houston by 12.
Yeah, the one that didn't was Houston.
That was the only one. The Virginia Villanova Michigan game, that was pretty close until the end. That was an 8-point game. And then Duke had a rally. They win by 5, but they were down with like a minute and a half to go by 2. I mean, they had to rally for Coach K to get in. I'll tell you, Banchero is a pro.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean,
he's a freshman. You see any kind of jitters with him?
No. Not even on day one of the season.
You see any weakness in his game?
Not apparent ones, at least.
I'm going to tell you, what really impressed me was, because I was watching, and most of the time he goes, I think it's to his right. So they start playing him like, they know he's going to go right. And he just said, okay. And he hit a big bucket down toward the end. And was it Brian Anderson? No, it was Nance who was doing that. And said he went to his left that time and knocked in the shot. He basically said, okay, you're giving me my left. I'll take it. And he used it. And there's no hole that I see. And mentally tough. I was so impressed with Banchero. And really, who's the guard on that team that was so good in that game? Because he hit the last shots at the end.
You talking Roach or?
Yeah,
or...
Roach, who had 15 points.
That's right.
Yeah. What? They were just amazing. I think they hit like 8 of their last 8 shots to win the game.
Yeah, they definitely had a big stretch. I was thinking Texas Tech is going to pull that out, and then Duke just had the stretch at the very end. It was unbelievable.
It's crazy. So tonight, first off, the Elite 8 in San Francisco and in where were they? Was it Indy?
I'm not sure.
I know. Anyway. The Arkansas-Duke game is going to be terrific. Oh, and then Houston-Villanova, it's in San Antonio.
That's right.
It's going to be like a home game for Houston. They're going to have a lot more people than Villanova. They did last night, for sure. Both those games are super games. I can't wait for tomorrow for those games. In the meantime, tonight, we mentioned Kansas and Providence. I'm amazed it's that high. The one game, Miami -3 over Iowa State.
I'm so excited for that game. I think that's the most exciting game in my book. I know 2 blue bloods are playing tonight, but even if Texas Tech playing last night, Iowa State, Miami, I'm excited for. A unique game, 2 teams playing really well. I'm just excited to watch it play.
Was it Johnny who was saying in that game you got to take the over? I was listening to somebody.
Yeah, that's right. That's John Harden that said that yesterday.
Yeah. I believe that.
It's going down from 137 all the way down to 131.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's going the other way, but
Miami's the favorite in that game. I from 2 wins to 22 wins, what a great story for Iowa State and their coach to mold all transfers. I mean, they started playing together right off the bat. They were good. They got a bit exposed in the middle of the year, but here they are in the Sweet 16. It's been a great story. But I think Larinaga's team's going to win the game.
Yeah, and they're playing. Talk about teams that have really come on late. Yeah. They have come on really late. And Jim Larinaga is a great coach, undoubtedly.
He is, but he's got a point guard too. Now
they can score at will.
The story of the point guard is the most amazing thing. Charlie Moore's his name. He's a kid from Chicago. Do you know where he originally was coming to school?
No, originally, but I'm just going to guess Memphis. Is that right?
Bingo.
Is that right?
He signed or didn't sign. He committed to Josh Pastner.
I think I did hear that.
So
actually.
when Pastner left Memphis to go to Georgia Tech, Moore originally went with him. Okay? Never played there either. I think he might have been on the campus for a bit. He didn't go. He ended up not playing there, but he was. I think he signed with Georgia Tech. So let's say Memphis to Georgia Tech. Let's follow the bouncing ball. He then goes to Cal.
Plays for Conzo.
He plays at Cal, I think, just a year. Then he goes to Kansas. 4. That's the 4th team, right? Goes to Kansas I don't know if he ever really played at Kansas. Did he?
He got some minutes,
Okay.
but I would say it's few and far between there.
So he doesn't work out in Lawrence. He goes, you know what? I'm going home. I'm going to Chicago. So here's school number 5. He goes to DePaul. He plays really good for DePaul. He truly does. I don't know why. Now he's a grad transfer. He can go wherever he wants to, doesn't have to sit out. He goes to Miami, his 6th school. And how long has Pastner been gone? We had 2 years of Tubby, 4. This is like the 7th year.
That's right.
The kid is in his 7th year. He's probably going to be a pro. He's a great college player. And here he is. He's under Larinaga. He's taking control of this program. He's another one like Gillespie at Villanova. Controls the pace of the game. He can hit a big shot for you if he has to. Incredible.
Scoring really well right now behind their offense, which has been scoring well all year. It's really a case of Iowa State has literally gotten to this point. They've scored 40 points or less, not less, but they've scored in the 40s in some games this year. And Miami, whose defense is not great, but their offense is incredible, couldn't be more opposing factors going at it. And on top of that, Dave, it's a 10-11 game in the Sweet 16. This one has all the storylines for me. I'm so excited.
Okay, well, I'm glad. I think Miami's going to win that game. Then UCLA, I watched up close and personal against North Carolina, and North Carolina's playing their best basketball. The Bruins are favored by 2. Man, I don't know. I really don't know which way that game goes.
A classic matchup either. UCLA is so unpredictable. I mean, not that North Carolina isn't, but UCLA is so unpredictable. Some nights they'll have like Ju Zhang, and he'll shoot if he's making or missing. He'll go like 2 of 14, but then the next night he'll come out and be like 13 of 14.
Well,
so it's hard to predict.
You know what? The other guy, Jaquez, is that?
That's right.
He's the more consistent, reliable player in my estimation.
No doubt.
He is outstanding. That'll be a great game. And then you realize that in history, we have never, ever had a 15 seed make the Elite Eight.
Until today.
It's only the third 15 seed that made the Sweet 16.
What are the Florida Gulf Coast? Did they make the Sweet 16?
Yes, they did. Florida Gulf Coast, and I'm trying to remember who the other one was. There is one other team, one other 15 seed that made a Sweet 16.
Oral Roberts.
Oral Roberts, there you go.
I forgot about Oral Roberts. Wow.
I don't see St. Peter's beating Purdue. That's the biggest line so far. 12.5-point favorite, the Boilermakers.
But I'll tell you, a great matchup. Seriously, Purdue's defense is not very good, does not rate well defensively all year, but their offense, obviously, they're incredible. But St. Peter's runs a matchup zone. College kids notoriously freak out when they play a matchup zone. I don't know why. Now, you've had a week to prepare.
It's hard.
That's right.
Well, just ask the Tigers with Frank Haith.
Do I run man offense? Do I run zone? And the college kids freak out when it changes. They don't know what to do. So now they've had a week to prepare for just one type of defense, so that's a big advantage for Purdue. But a really good matchup. If there was a time for a 15 seed to go to an Elite Eight, Dave, it's this year with St. Peter's.
Well, I'd love for that story to happen, but I will tell you right now, we've never had an Elite Eight 15 seed. We still won't have one when the sun rises tomorrow. I'd love to see the Pelicans win. I really would.
Peacocks, right?
Peacocks. You're right. Peacocks. But I don't think that's going to happen. All right. No Ja last night. No Clark last night.
No problem.
No Brooks last night. No worries. You realize they had another 40-point first quarter? So what is that, 17 now as they try to keep?
That's right.
44 points. So they got a 21-point lead on Indy after the first quarter. It's over. It's absolutely over. They hit 21 threes. That's a season high. My man Bain. You can't stop him. The kid from TCU is on fire. He's on fire.
Announcing himself to the world, which it was such a good time to have the Grizzlies on ESPN last night, too, because no one deserves, well, maybe someone does, but no one deserves recognition to be at least included in the Most Improved Award more than Desmond Bain. I mean, Look at the improvement over 1 year. It's unprecedented.
Well, you know, he went back as a sophomore to Summer League to learn how to be a point guard. I think it helped his overall game because he's not just a catch-and-shoot guy anymore. He can do it all. He really can. Last night, 12 of 15. If I do my math correctly, that's 80%, young man.
That's right.
J-Mo, that's 80%. He was 5 of 7 from threes. This is a great story. I believe the Grizzlies shot 72% in the fourth quarter of that game.
Really?
I think it was one quarter they went nuts. They went nuts because I'm going back and forth. I'm watching more college basketball than I am this, especially when there was a 21-point lead. 6 guys in double figures, 34 assists on 50 buckets made. And Tyus Jones only had 5 of them. So the whole team shared the ball incredibly. So 51 and 23, 2.5 games up on Golden State, who will play tonight again without Steph Curry. They will play in Atlanta.
Yeah, it'll be a tough game, too. But, I mean, Warriors just came off a tough win against Miami, albeit the Heat were fighting with each other during the game.
Poole
is playing. He's
unreal.
I looked yesterday at his game logs. He hasn't scored less than 20 points in the month of March. Every game they played.
Even with Curry? When Curry
was in.
Wow.
Unbelievable. He's playing so well.
Is Wiseman playing at all?
I think he's probably shut down for the year, if I had to guess.
Wow. So, here's the deal. 2.5 games up on Golden State. Man, if it goes to 3 with basically 8 games to go. So, if the playoffs started today, we'll talk with Andy Schiffman about this in a little bit. The Grizzlies would take on the winner of Minnesota and the Clippers.
Who do you want in that game? Especially if those guys come back for the Clippers.
I don't know. That's what makes this so intriguing. But if you finish third, you get Denver. I'd rather finish second. I'd rather take my chances than go up against the Joker.
And especially in that next, let's say the Grizzlies and the Warriors were both to win, obviously that's looking way ahead, but you want home court advantage in that series too. That matters a lot as well.
So it all sets up now for tomorrow. That'll be fun too because the Bucks are in town, the defending champions. You cannot get a ticket. I hope Giannis plays for all the folks who are coming.
The return of Grayson Allen.
Yeah.
That's probably why they all are going to the game.
Well, let me tell you. I've been helping people get tickets for years, right? For years. I cannot get a ticket. I had a person, I was trying to get 2 tickets for him and his son. Could not get a ticket to this game. That may be a first ever. So I really believe this could be the first total true sellout this year for the Grizz because you can't get a ticket. And it's going to be fun. And I think the lower level and the club level are sold out the rest of the year. And then in the playoffs, it's going to be sold out. So congratulations to the Grizz and all that is going on there. A couple of quick notes. Jacoby Francis had a very good pro day yesterday. So did Dylan Parham and Calvin Austin. Dykes, the tight end, gained 12 pounds because he was a small tight end, good speed, did not lose speed with the 12 pounds. Maybe he'll get a look. Apparently, he looked pretty good. J.J. Russell, the linebacker who I think could be a pro, he had the most bench presses with 26. A good pro day for most of the guys for the Tigers who were there. And I think that pretty well sums up exactly what's going on in this crazy March Madness. And so a lot of fun with a little pro day stuff thrown in. When we come back, though, the story of the Tigers never ends. We know Josh Minot said yesterday he's not coming back. If he didn't make the NBA, would he come back to Memphis? We're going to talk with Tigers beat writer from the Commercial Appeal, Jason Munz, in a minute. And who else might be coming back, including on the coaching staff. The man from the CA, Jason Muzz, comes your way in a second. We're sitting in the Family Leisure Studio, and remember all those outdoor spaces? Because that's the newest thing in houses. They got just so much inventory right now with outdoor kitchens, wonderful grills. I got a bowl. They got them. Great deals on play gyms, trampolines with all that mesh, so they're safe now. It's the time to get it together and purchase your new 2022 patio furniture, state-of-the-art, hits the floor daily with new stuff. It's happening at Family Leisure at I-40 and Whidden Road. And by the way, speaking of homes and spaces, if you're ready to move or you just want to sell your house in a market that's gone crazy and is still crazy, you need somebody to navigate you through that process. That's my man Sheldon with Mark Spensdorf. Sheldon Rosengarten. He is your real estate athlete. What? Athlete? Yeah, athlete. He gets into his stance and spins through those tricky inspections and appraisals. He can run the 100-yard closing table dash in 12 minutes flat. His wingspan, combined with his jumping skills, helps his clients beat the competition in those notorious bidding wars. Really, it comes down to his marketing plan. It's strategic. It's unique. It's got shell bucks. It's a winner. He prices right. He's got so much experience. That's why he wins the bidding wars. It's all about experience and strategy, and nobody beats Shell Dunn. You want to see it? Go to MemphisRelocate.com. You want to talk? Call Shell Dunn at 483-0546. Shell Dunn, Rosengarten, Marks, Bensdorf. Jason Munn's in just a minute.
You have opinions?
What do you hear? What do you say?
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Hey everybody, the go-to place to sell any vehicle for some crazy good money and get a check today is right here in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet. And you don't even have to buy one of All-Star's cars or trucks. Just bring it on, even if you owe money on it. But if you're ready to go car or truck shopping, this is where you want to be. It's Chevy Truck Month. Ask for Kevin or Jeff and they'll show you all the new Silverados here and in the pipeline. Zero interest is available and your good credit deserves it. Plus $1,000 accessory allowance. Plus $500 bonus cash. Seriously, these will go fast, so try to get here this week. And hey, pre-order what you want. And don't forget, All-Star Chevrolet is loaded up with certified pre-owned Chevys. Yes, lots of certified Silverados. If you want to shop the best pre-owned vehicles, go to allstarautogroup.com and find the one you want. Come drive one today. Drive them all. Remember, it's not South Haven, not the Pike, not Collierville, not Mount Moriah. It's got to be Olive Branch, people. So find new roads to All-Star Chevrolet or go to allstarautogroup.com.
For over 8 decades, America's farmers have counted on the little red tractor from Case IH, the Farmall, to help them make short work of their demanding chores. Well, Mid-South Ag can show you they aren't just for farms anymore. With horsepower ranging from 30 to 105, plus an army of attachments, they can tackle every chore on your to-do list, from hauling and mowing to loading and towing and then some. Stop by Mid-South Ag Equipment or call 662-890-3141 to find a Case IH Farmall that's right for you.
You want a silencer for your gun or rifle, but don't want to have to wait a year to get approved? With Tactical Guns and Gear in Collierville, the electronic filing takes only about 90 days for approval. They do it all in one place with their state-of-the-art fingerprinting kiosk. And if you've never seen a silencer, they have over 100 in stock. So go by Tactical Guns and Gear in Collierville and get started on protecting your hearing with a silencer today. It also can help you reduce recoil and improve accuracy. Tell them Eli sent you.
Spring is around the corner. That means the sounds of air conditioners cranking up will be in the air soon. Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. This month only, receive $1,000 off the purchase of a new Carrier AC unit. No gimmicks, just $1,000 off for the Choate's Early Bird Carrier AC Special. If your AC is in good shape, call us to get your $60 20-point AC tune-up to get your AC cleaned and ready for the warm seasons ahead. Choate's is here for all your cooling, heating, plumbing, air duct cleaning, and commercial needs. Call us today at 347-8086 to take advantage of these early bird specials. Or to schedule online, visit ChoatesHVAC.com. So turn to the experts with Choates. And remember, let our family serve your family.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Oh, yeah, title sponsor is Homer. We're so grateful for Homer Skelton Hyundai right there at the corner of I-78. That's Lamar and Craft Road, the very first exit in Memphis. Chris True's the GM. He's got a philosophy. You'll never pay more than sticker price at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Not every dealership can make that claim. That's the way it is at Homer, where they've raised the bar and set the standard for the way car business should be done. And this portion of the show brought to you by Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and, of course, the super tune-ups. I urge everybody, take advantage of the Conway service. $69 for a tune-up. Get it twice. You get it in winter. You get the safety inspection. And you really want that to make sure there is everything in order. They do a little camera and everything else. And then in the springtime, when you get ready for summer, you want your house to be cool. You want your system to be efficient so it lasts longer and your energy bills are lower. But also, they'll check for free on leaks. You want to make sure everything is 100%. That's included in the Super Tune-Up from Conway Services, 384-3511. That is the number to call. Always busy. That's Jason Munz, the beat writer for the commercial appeal of your Tigers. And we got the season out of the way now, but the drama always continues. We've got who's coming back. We've got that with players. We got that with coaches. Let's start Jason Munz with Josh Minot. If he goes and they see some holes or whatever, they say, kid, go back to school. You do this, this, and this. You will be a lottery pick. Where will he go back to college? Is Memphis going to be the place, or do you think some other destination would be on the docket?
I think it would. I think the likelihood that it's going to be at Memphis is pretty much nil. I mean, I think his that chapter of his career is over, and so it becomes. I mean, I think he's convinced that he's going. You know, that he will be done with college.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, like I get that impression.
Are you convinced of that?
It's just, you know, what's so interesting is that, I mean, you look back as far as the Iverson Classic last summer here in Memphis, and he really opened some eyes. I mean, there was a lot of people, a lot of high level, NBA front office people and scouts and things of that nature that were here all week. Watching, guys like Chet Holmgren, Paulo Banchero, Peyton Watson, who's still playing with UCLA. I mean, like there's a lot of star power here in Memphis that week, and Josh really, really opened some eyes and got on people's radar. And then you fast forward to October, I believe it was, and you got the pro day at Memphis. And he didn't do anything to hurt his stock, with the way he performed there. And so I think that there are some executives and some scouts and some NBA people who you go through the season and he kept his name. The buzz stayed around his name. So I think he's probably done enough to enamor somebody, and probably multiple somebodies, but at least somebody, I think is going to probably take a chance on him and convince him that he needs to continue his career at the professional level. Now, it may take him a little bit of time to get where he ultimately wants to go, but I think that it just seems like from this angle that he's done enough to have somebody take a chance on him.
I don't think there's any question he'll end up being in the NBA at some point because his athleticism is off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
I also think it's a fair statement to make that because he played small high school basketball in a private school in Boca Raton, that he is behind. As smart as he is behind on basketball IQ, spacing, timing on picks, defensive assignments. Those have not been his strong points. So when they get in these little combo things in Chicago, when they do these things, I don't know. I don't think he's a first-round guy. I think if he came back to school, wherever he goes, I think he could work his way with more experience and knowledge of becoming a lottery guy. But if this is the way it goes, and he can still get to a second contract that's amazing, so we shall see. I suspect he's not going to be any higher than a second-round pick. But I wish him the best. I really like the kid. I'm sorry it did not work out for a second year here Because I think not only would he have helped the team, I think he would have helped himself and become a lottery pick. But I get all of that. Let me go to coaches before we go to any other players because I don't want to run out of time. Do you think Larry Brown is back? His contract's at the end of next month.
No, I think this was probably when I sat down with him one-on-one before the SMU game in Dallas.
Yeah.
He just gave me the impression that it wasn't that he, didn't want to come back. It's not like I didn't get the feeling that he was soured in any way by his experience here at Memphis. But I do think that he, if Penny had not been trying to get him for 3 seasons, not that he felt obligated to Penny or whatever to give him a year. Not that he felt like he owed it to Penny to give him a year on staff, but sort of kind of like that. I just think that he's got, he told me that day that he could have gone anywhere. That he's got,
right,
proteges and people that he's worked with in the past, many people
right,
in the NBA at the college level, and could pretty much do whatever he wants to. And I think that's probably what we're looking at is he's going to look at another opportunity, before he, and so that's why I think he's not going to be back. I mean, the one thing, I've had conversations with people who are close to him. The one thing I would say is that, he really does enjoy the college game. He enjoys working with kids, the guys who still, where there's still some molding capabilities.
Right.
Once you start working with NBA guys, well, you're really just kind of, the teaching part of it is kind of over with. It's more about just other things at that point. And I think he really enjoys, being respected and revered and heard, and that sort of thing. So that might be the only caveat to the argument, but I do think that he's probably going to look at something else.
Cody Toppert, I know he wants to be a head coach somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think he was, he had some opportunities last year, last offseason, interviews and conversations for openings, at a couple of different spots last year that ultimately didn't work out. So I don't think anything's changed. I think if he has an opportunity to get a head coaching job somewhere, I think he's going to take it. Whether or not that happens is, we'll see. It's been quite a, hectic, busy, scene so far, with different openings here and there. And, there's been a lot of movement already.
Right.
But, I do think that, if he's back in Memphis, then that means that, it just wasn't time yet. I think there's going to be, I don't think that he's going to, not pursue something if there's something to pursue.
All right. I hear names like Jermaine Johnson definitely going to be retained after he lost his job, came back in the middle when Wallace was gone. Todd Day has been he's been to tournaments that we've been at. I love seeing Todd. He was at the American Athletic Conference tournament in Fort Worth. Where do you think Penny turns if he loses Larry or Cody or both?
Well, I think those two, you mentioned JJ and Todd Day, and those, in my mind, are probably your top two, if not two of your top three, places that you turn to find, if you've got holes to fill. I think those are definitely, two of the more realistic. There's familiarity there. Penny and Todd are very close. And have been close for quite some time. And Todd, he's a head coach at Philander Smith College in Little Rock, and they had a pretty good year this year, quite a really good year.
Yeah.
So he's done some good things. I talked to him a few weeks ago, and the impression he gave me was that they sort of visited. They discussed the possibility of him coming on staff last off season, but that he felt like he had some unfinished business at Philander Smith, and so that's kind of where that went. But I would not be surprised if they did not revisit, or if they revisited that this off season. And then Sean Forrest is another name.
Right.
He's on staff. He's a career assistant who's been a lot of places and done a lot of really good work. And he spent this past season as the special assistant to the head coach.
Yep, worked for Larry Brown at SMU. All right, we got 30 seconds, so very quickly. Who in your mind for sure players not coming back? We know Duren is one.
Yeah, Duren, Minot, Landers Nolly, I think is done. Outside of that, it's kind of have to wait and see. I think it's wait and see on DeAndre Williams.
Yep.
Wait and see on Lester Quinones.
I think that's exactly what I've said. I wasn't sure about Minot, but I said earlier this week, I thought Duren, obviously to the NBA, Nolly, a grad transfer. I didn't think he'd be back. Otherwise, I thought everything was up for grabs, and now we know Minot's in that list. I'm sure we'll have more to talk about next Friday. Thank you, Jason. I truly appreciate it.
All right, thanks.
You got it. That is Jason Munz, brought to you in part by the Spirit Shop. That is the place my good friend, and you know him, Eddie Connor, is the owner. It's family owned and operated since '69. It's that little log cabin right there at Poplar and St. Nick. You've seen it a million times. You've passed it by. You thought there's not much in there. If you go in, you'll be amazed. So much product and so much knowledge to be gained from Eddie Connor. He'll talk to you about the greatest of the spirits. Truly. Like, if you want to know about local stuff, he'll tell you all about what Old Dominic is doing. He's got it there. He's got rare bourbons. He's like Pappy's. I think he gets a couple of bottles a year. You'll never get that out of him, but try. He's got the stuff that's middle ground. He's got the bargains. He's got the up-and-comers. Same thing with wine. Local beers, he's got it there. Any kind of accessories you need, a rub for your glass for a cocktail, he sells that. He sells it all. It's the Spirit Shop. Anything to do with spirits, he's got it, and they have nice spirits when you go in there in terms of attitude. You'll love the people at the Spirit Shop at Poplar and St. Nick. We got to pause for just a minute. When we come back to Chicago, we go. Our agent from Priority Sports, Andy Schiffman, on the NBA in just a minute.
You have opinions?
The knowledge that I have matters.
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. If you need a new roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. I have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with two of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time it is to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies and the Redbirds and 901 FC, not to mention Tigers football and basketball, it's going to be a fun year. Thanks to Coach Silverfield and Coach Hardaway and their staffs for their dedication to the student and athletes, the University of Memphis, the City of Memphis, and us fans. Five Ash Roof Services, a proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
What's happening Mid-South? Are you ready for a new ride from Gossett Kia on the Pike? We got it covered. Take your pick, 2022 Kia Soul LX or 2022 Kia Forte LSX. We got it at $199 for 36-month lease, $27.99 due at signing. And let your adventure begin in 2022 Kia Sorento LX. $299 for 36-month lease and $39.99 due at signing. Plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. You got to make your move today to Gossett Kia on the Pike. Come see Bobby J. He'd love to put you in a new Kia today. That's Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
36-month leases, $650 acquisition fee, $30,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Sold in 7/18/2252. MSRP $20,960. Forte NE $461,574. MSRP $20,770. Sorrento $899,0199. MSRP $32,120. Includes all rebates and incentives. $695 PF. Must finance through Kia. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 4/4/2022 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
For years, I have talked to you about James Davis, the finest men's store in all of Memphis. The service, the selection, everything that goes with quality. And I've told you recently about the Stant Perfect Fit shirts. Well, now there's the Stant Perfect Fit pants. Absolutely amazing. Only 2 measurements fed into a computer, and all of a sudden, you've got the perfect fit pants. I'm talking everywhere. The leg, the seat, the bottom, all made to fit your body absolutely perfectly. And there's 80 different fabrics to choose from. You will find the right look, the right fit, almost instantaneously. They start at $162, but you will never find a better pair of pants than these at James Davis Men's Store. And the shirts are still there, and guess what? It's the only place in Memphis that you can find Stant. That's the James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again, it's the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome back in. Final portion of the week. It's always with Andy Schiffman. I always look forward to it. We talk NBA, and we're going to do that a bunch today. But I want to start with this. You are an agent, and I know your agency. You're mainly basketball, but your agency has football, right?
Correct.
So let me ask you this, and this is about NIL. The Volunteers got a commitment from a 5-star player who is terrific. Nico Iamaleva is the guy. The rumor is that he has a $2 million NIL. Now, I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that's what I've been told. My question for you is, if that guy is going to get $2 million up front for just his freshman year, which means he could make $6 million before he leaves for the NFL if he's that good, what kind of money could Arch Manning be in line for?
In terms of
NIL money,
opportunities, NIL deals?
Yeah.
I think football is a different animal than basketball, so I really can't speak a whole lot to that side of it just because I deal in basketball, Dave.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting because there's a pretty big disparity from the top level guys, maybe this kid at Tennessee, to the next tier, really, in terms of opportunities for NIL money, endorsements, marketing appearances, things like that. And this is the first year of NIL. And so everyone is really kind of learning as we go. And there's going to be different changes, I think, to the rules. There's a lot of nuances that really aren't fully thought out yet. But the case remains, look, top-level talent can go out there at a big-time school like Tennessee and capitalize off of that unlimited amount of money. I mean, unlimited. So I couldn't tell you specifically.
Yeah, I mean, but if you think about that, if Iamaleva is going to make $2 million, that's $6 million.
Yep.
When he's ready to go in the NFL, I mean, he's already in a pretty good financial position. And if it's like crazy things like say $5 million for Arch Manning,
oh yeah,
I mean that's $15 million before you even get to the league.
Yeah, so some of these kids will make more in college doing NIL deals that they will in their first contract at the professional level. And obviously, NFL, the contracts are huge, and not all of it's guaranteed. But absolutely, and it really, practically, Dave, it's a pitch for NCAA institutions and schools to keep kids in school longer, to say, well, you could go to pro, whether it's NBA, NFL, or you could stay here and continue to be a college kid, free education, by the way, also make a few $1 million to add before you turn pro. I think that's probably more applicable to the NBA than it is NFL, just because, like we mentioned, the opportunity for big-time contracts as a rookie in the NFL definitely trumps what is available in the NBA as a rookie. But, yeah, look, it's unlimited, especially at a big time. I think it's really all conducive on the school and the program, especially some of these SEC schools for football. You get some of these boosters involved, they will unload, and there is no limit on what these kids can earn. Maybe in the future there is going to be a limit. I don't know. Like I said, this is all year one of NIL.
You're right. It's Wild Wild West. I'm in total agreement. All right, let me shift gears. Yesterday it was announced that Josh Minot is going to enter the NBA draft. Where do you think he could end up? Do you think he's a first rounder? Do you think he's a second rounder? Do you think he heads back to a school?
Well, I think if the draft were today, Dave, he would probably end up in the second round.
Really?
But I've watched a lot of Memphis, yes. And I've watched a lot of Memphis. Now, here's the reason I say that. Because as of today, NBA decision makers are basing their decision off what they've seen, which is not a lot from Josh. Someone that's averaged, 6 or 7 points a game.
Right.
You typically is playing 5 minutes in the first half, and a lot of times never gets back in. There obviously was a stretch a couple months ago where he was playing big minutes and played really well. But the intrigue is there because if you watch closely with Josh, there's a lot of things he can do with his length, with his size, with his athleticism, with his timing, his bounciness, and his IQ that get teams excited. But again, as an NBA team, it is a little bit more difficult to justify to your owner, we're going to invest a first-round pick in someone that really has not played enough for us to showcase things. And you think back last year with Josh Primo from Alabama,
right?
Like he played a lot at Alabama. So yes, there was a little bit of a dice roll on that one because you're basically picking him based on upside, and the Spurs took him in the lottery. But he played enough, and you could see enough. But I will say this about Josh. I know what teams think of him. There is enough excitement and intrigue with him that a player like Josh, if he wants to go through the testing the waters process where you can go and work out for NBA teams, you can participate in the NBA Combine without fully committing to staying in the draft, that decision has to be made by June 1st. If you go through that process and a kid like Josh takes advantage of this opportunity, things go well, teams all of a sudden are in love with his physicality and his physical traits and his size because they're seeing him up close in person. And he's someone that can, in workout shows, he can defend on the perimeter and play a little bit on the perimeter, which I do think he can, and really shoot the ball at a high rate from NBA 3, which are things he did not necessarily get to show at Memphis. If he can show these things in workouts, it is absolutely not out of the question that a team in the first round could fall in love with him and say, he's our guy, we're taking him, and he ends up in the first round. So I do not think it's out of the question that Josh could end up in the first round, but my advice to him would say, go through the process, don't rush it, take advantage of this window to go be evaluated by teams, and then make that decision. Because a player like Josh, the last thing you want to do is go through this process, commit yourself to staying in, end up getting picked in the 40s or 50s on a two-way, and now you're starting out your career on a two-way contract spent mostly in the G League, or worse, on an Exhibit 10 spent the entire season in the G League, when you could have gone back to school, wherever that may be, and really bolstered your stock. And we've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of players that have gone through that. Corey Kispert, we talk about him all the time.
Right.
I was with him last night in Milwaukee. If he would have left at Gonzaga after his junior year, Dave, he probably would have been picked in the mid to late 40s. We know he would have gotten drafted, but he decided to bet on himself and go back to school. And again, this is as a senior, turn it into what he did, making it to the national championship game and ending up being picked 15th by the Wizards, and now he's starting for the Wizards. And again, as a freshman, potentially going back to school and coming out as a sophomore, I think Josh really has a lot to look forward to, whether it's next season or this summer going through the draft process.
But you think he'd get drafted for sure? At maybe not in the first round, but he'd be a draft pick for sure in the second round if he will be then, because he's definitely entered the draft.
Well, he's entering the draft, but it doesn't necessarily obviously mean he will be drafted. But again, if the draft were today, before the whole evaluation process, if you're a team and you have multiple second-round picks, and maybe you have a roster crunch and you're going to use some of these picks on two-way players to where they really don't take up one of the 15 roster spots, I think, look, we're betting on upside. All of a sudden, Josh is available where we're picking, let's say it's the 40s or 50s. We give him a two-way contract. We evaluate him. And if it blows up and it works out, guess what? We have his rights, and we can kind of maximize our investment in him for the future. Right. And if it doesn't work out, all you've really done as a team is invest a two-way contract in him with minimal guaranteed money. That's why for Josh, it's so important to make a informed decision and not just think, all I want to do is hear my name called. I don't care where I'm picked. No, because there's too much upside for him to go back to school and what he could become in the future versus if he's not really getting the feedback he wants right now. And look, there's a myriad of things that could happen, right? Yep. What if he goes through the workout process and all of a sudden gets injured and can't work out the rest of this whole window? Then you don't want to lock yourself in, and all of a sudden no teams have really seen you work out or participate at the combine.
Yeah. In 30 seconds, where's Duran going to end up?
I think he's going to end up, I'm going to say, 8 to 18. I think the mocks have him a little higher than what a lot of other teams have him. I'm going to say 8 to 18. It's not out of the question he falls out of the lottery. I think if he does go lottery, it's going to be at the back half of the lottery.
If he's at 12, the Grizzlies could take him. That would be amazing.
Yep.
Andy Schiffman, thank you as always. We'll talk. We'll have playoffs pretty well set up by next Friday.
Yep. Exciting time. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. That's Andy Schiffman, our agent in Chicago with Priority Sports. Brought to you by Old Dominick. That's our hometown distillery. They are partners of the Tigers. They root for the Grizzlies. They are a part of the Memphis DNA, and they make a great product. And they have for a long time, going all the way back to the old Domenico Canali days, where he started this empire when he came over from Italy. It's fascinating to go take the tour. Right there at 305 South Front Street. It's the only distillery tour in Memphis, 45 minutes. You'll learn about the craft of distilling, and then you're going to get a beautiful tasting of all of the portfolio of Old Dominick Spirits. And by the way, you don't have to go down to 305 South Front Street to buy Old Dominick Spirits. You can get those in spirit shops all over town, including the one at Poplar and St. Nick. Old Dominick, it is Memphis's distillery. Have a great weekend. We thank Jason Munz and Andy Schiffman. Enjoy all the basketball. We'll see you Monday.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years.